New questions today about how the NYPD is dealing with disciplining its officers. A New York Daily News report claims to have found a lot of inconsistencies. The paper says it reviewed more than 150 official NYPD disciplinary dispositions. It says officers found guilty of wrongful arrest, assault, and discourtesy in the community were forced to give up fewer than 15 days of vacation. On the other hand, officers accused of inter-department offenses like repeated lateness and leaving their posts while on duty were forced to give up more vacation, and they were placed on dismissal probation, which is the last chance for an officer on the route to being fired. Now, here with us now to discuss is Mark Peters. Mark is an urban affairs expert, spending years working for New York City government as commissioner of the city's Department of Investigation. Mark, it's great to have you here with us today.
Great to be back again.
I know you read the article with interest. Does what the article says match what you found while you were working for the DOI?
Absolutely. And what's most troubling about the article is that in 2015, the Department of Investigation found that the NYPD was failing to discipline officers who'd used excessive force. Last year, the DOI found that this was still a problem. Earlier this year, the NYPD's own Blue Ribbon panel found that this was a problem. So this is now the fourth time that we've got a report finding that the NYPD is not properly disciplining officers for excessive force. And over that time span, what we're seeing is that the NYPD is failing to effectively deal with what is a real problem for the department.
Why would this be the case? Why is it that officers accused of misconduct within the people that they take the oath to protect and serve, why are those punishments less harsh than just kind of fooling around within the department?
Well, we don't really know, or certainly nobody outside the department knows, but it sends a really troubling message, because it sends a message that the department takes its own sort of internal rules about showing up on time more seriously than it takes whether or not officers are treating properly the citizens that they're sworn to protect.
In your time at DOI, how often did this come up?
Well, this was something that we dealt with at DOI on a regular basis. When I first got to DOI, we created the Inspector General for the NYPD, and one of the first things we did was looked at the use of excessive force. And as early as 2015, we issued a report that found that in roughly a third of all cases where we were able to independently verify that there was excessive force, nonetheless, the police commissioner imposed no discipline. As a result of that, the NYPD announced some reforms, including the fact that they would start tracking this issue.
Right.
In 2018, we went back, looked at it again, and found that although they had said they would begin tracking the issue, they weren't really doing it effectively. Earlier this year, the Blue Ribbon panel, appointed by the NYPD, comes back and says it's still a problem. And now we have this new report saying basically 4 years later, nothing much has changed.
And in fact, you mentioned the Blue Ribbon. The mayor actually just spoke about that a little while ago because we asked him about this topic. Here's what he had to say.
There are published reports that the police officers are not punished equally internally at the NYPD. I wonder how you feel about that and whether you think that internal punishment...
Okay, I have not seen the report, but let me speak to the bigger issue. When I came into office, what I heard from a lot of police officers was that they felt that there was a very arbitrary process, that punishment was meted out in ways that weren't consistent, that there was a punitive environment that dominated in the previous administration. And it really chilled the ability of officers to feel that they could get out and serve people and have a relationship with the community. And what we did from the beginning is said we're going to retrain all our officers, focus on neighborhood policing, focus on developing a relationship with the community, and then have discipline become more consistent. And one of the things I think that the Blue Ribbon panel really focused on was creating transparent, consistent standards that then were applied evenly. That's what we're in the process of doing now.
I wonder your reaction to what Mayor de Blasio just said.
Well, the mayor is certainly correct that this is a problem, and certainly correct that this is a problem that he and the administration need to focus on. The concern is that this is a problem that was first reported on by DOI 4 years ago in 2015. And so it's taking an awfully long time to make changes, and we haven't, as this new report shows, seen any real significant changes in solving the problem.
So bottom line this for me, what has to happen today, really yesterday?
What has to happen is that the most senior people, both at the NYPD and at City Hall, have to make fixing this problem a priority, which means the hard day-to-day work of thinking every day, every week, and meeting every day, every week to say, what do we need to do, and what did we do last week, and what are we doing this week, until we finally get this problem under control.
Mark Peters, our resident expert on urban affairs, thank you very much for your insight and really shedding a lot of light on this report.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. And we just received a statement from the NYPD saying, quote, a fair and consistent discipline system is key to building trust with the community. That's why last year, Police Commissioner James O'Neill called together an independent panel of respected law enforcement experts to conduct an exhaustive review of NYPD discipline policies and make recommendations to strengthen them. The commissioner accepted each of the recommendations made, and several have already been implemented. In accordance with the panel's recommendation, the NYPD, in partnership with the CCRB, now that's the Civilian Complaint Review Board, is currently examining how a discipline matrix that would enumerate presumptive penalties for offenses could be created. We will continue to follow this story here on CBSN New York, CBS 2 News, and CBSNewYork.com as it develops.